What's up, everybody? It's the Faceless Caseworker. I'm back at it again, and today we're continuing our series on white gang members. All right, not white supremacists or white Aryan group. No, we're talking about white guys, girls, and African American traditional gangs. And today we're talking about an individual by the name of Milk74. That's right, Milk74. If you heard of him, please follow. Now, you're going to learn about him today. All right. Before we go in there, hit the subscribe button. All right. We're going to get you this good stuff. All right. Now, this guy, Milk74, is a 26-year-old white male from South Los Angeles, California. All right. And he is a member of the 74 Criminal Hoovers gang, also known as the Babies. 74 Hoover Crips. All right. This was the name of them up to the 90s. They're a long standing, about 99.9% African American street gang located in Western District of South Los Angeles, California. It was founded in 1973. This gang is a subset of the larger Hoover criminals umbrella. All right. Now, this Hoover gang is mostly black, and all right, they control their area. All right, maybe about 30% square miles of their area in South Los Angeles, and they're the third largest criminal set. All right. Now, how did this white boy get inside of an African American gang? As you've checked out my other videos before, I stated about white individuals inside of predominantly black or Hispanic gangs. Well, today we have Mr. Milk74, part of the 74 Hoover Crips. All right. Now, just checking about him and doing a little bit of research. Apparently, Mr. Milk was born in South Central Los Angeles, and he was a foster child, and he got adopted by a black mother. That's right, guys. He got adopted by a black woman. I'm like, damn. He got adopted by some hood woman. Now, no way I'm shape or form of saying all black women are from the hood, because my mama sure ain't hood. And the child of my mother definitely is not hood. And my siblings are all doing well. They ain't not hood. But apparently, Mr. Milk 74 was adopted by a black woman in South Los Angeles. All right. And he was a foster kid. So we already know foster kids go through a lot of problems. You know, their immediate family is not there. So that's going to create a big gap in your development, how you feel about yourself. All right. Many of you out there may have been in the foster system. If you have any comments, please hit on the bottom of the comments below. And don't forget to hit subscribe and the like button. Now, he was adopted by a black mother. All right. And he basically said that he grew up in the neighborhood and it was mostly black. And, you know, that he was infatuated by the gangs. For as long as he could remember, he wanted to be inside the Crip gang because that's the gang of his neighborhood. All right. And then when I guess the gang, like any other young individual who lives in a gang or urban area where there's a lot of crime, it sucks you up. So let's go back to development. As everybody knows, I'm a faces caseworker. I have a psychology degree in human services. You know, I also have some knowledge from the street. I also knowledge about life in general. So it's books, it's all of that put together. You know what I mean? But today we are talking about Milk 74 and how he ended up becoming one of the few white members of a all African American gang. All right. Now we know and understand the history of gangs that they started branched off of the Black Panthers, fighting against the police and injustice. All right, mostly predominantly white cops. But the gangs branched off, drugs came into play, and they became more of a criminal element to the gang. As you see, the 74 Hoover criminal gang, they had criminal in their name for a reason, because they're doing dirt. All right. Even Milk 74 himself says he was jumped into the gang. He was infatuated, wanted to be a part of it, had to prove himself more because he was white, and he did so. All right. So I'm sure he had to show the other members of the gang that he was no sucker and he was not weak and he would go out for these guys. All right. Now, as we can break down and see Milk 74, if you look at the pictures, of Mr. Milk74. You see, he doesn't really look scuffed up. He definitely looks older than 26. All right, but he doesn't look like he got too bad while he was in the gang, and allegedly retired. How you retire? I've never heard of a retired gang member at 26. So you're trying to tell me the Hoover Crips allowed Mr. Milk74 to retire at an early age? You know, most black guys that join the gang, they don't even get a chance to retire because they're dead before retirement kicks in, whatever what age that may be for a gangbanger. But it just shows you that no matter who you are, white, black, Latino, Spanish, Asian, you can turn into a criminal depending on what neighborhood you grow up in and what circumstances and support system you have. So if you're in a welfare state, you are living in poverty, you're living in a gang infested neighborhood, and you have a foster mother, what's going to happen to you? The odds are not stacked very well. All right. Most likely you're going to become a victim of society. All right. And we have Milk74, a Caucasian male who is now a YouTuber. You can check him out, Milk74. And he was an actual Crip in Los Angeles and survived the tough streets of Los Angeles. But the question remains, how did Mr. Milk74 end up in a black gang? What clearly is the fact that he didn't go the traditional route of how most that grew up in a good life may have. His mother, father abandoned him and abandoned him in the worst place, a gang infested neighborhood in California, in the mix of war. And he did what he had to do and became a gangbanger. All right. Now, I guess right now he sees it doesn't make any sense to be a gangbanger because he's no longer doing that and he's a YouTuber, a retired quote unquote. I didn't say this, he said it, a retired gangbanger. All right. Like I said, I didn't know gangbangers can retire. I know Jadakiss said gangsters don't die, they move to Miami, but I watch Bronx 12 News and I see all gangbangers don't die, move to Miami. Some of them just move to the morgue in the icebox. There's a famous line of the Hassan Campbell: you get your snot box rocked, you get your noodles turned back, you get your Fruit Loops looped, you get your Frosted Flakes, whatever you want to call it. But Mr. Milk74 is still living and breathing. So not only did he join the gang, but he survived successfully. All right? How is that? You got a high rate of black men being murdered in most of these gangs. If you check out some of his interviews, he talks stories about things he avoided. He avoided death. He evaded death. Some people call him a snitch, but over here, snitch, community cooperator, whatever you want. But clearly, still and then, a white man in a black gang still has a different experience than an African American male in a heavily, predominantly violent gang. Because it seems that he walked out of there unscathed. I could be wrong. Somebody go through his YouTube page and see he's talking about getting beat down. He did no state prison time. So I don't know how heavily involved he was in. Maybe he was just a guy that talked to the cops when they came by. Like, listen, guys, all right, this is my friends, the Cripes, and we play football together. So maybe you can just leave my friends alone. You know, my dad's a lawyer, and they just leave the guys alone. All right, but what do you guys think, man? Milk74, an actual 74 Hoover Crip, still living and breathing, not even hit 30 yet. It's out of his own mouth. Check his page out. But once again, white gangs on the rise in America. All right, I'm sure he's not the only one. Anyone know any white boy bloods? We have a few rapper bloods. I don't know how true these guys are actually bloods. I know you got China Mac. He's an Asian gangbanger. That's pretty rare when most Asians, they do have their own gangs, but those are segregated gangs, right? So how does this happen? You know, foster care, America, you got to do better. You're losing your stripes out here. You're losing what you consider the good guys. All right, that's all I got to say, man. White gangs in America, they out here. Fox ain't talking about it, but I sure will. Until the next time.